Morning, everyone. Good morning. Woo, here we are. We gather today in love with hope and determination. Some of you may already know my service today is on spirituality and the arts. The arts are a safe harbor, offering solace and spiritual renewal in troubled times. Theater, visual arts, movies, storytelling, dance, and of course music have the power to uplift, inspire, and connect us to something greater. In Niall Williams' novel, This Is Happiness, young Noel Crow's life is changed when he befriends Christy, a world-weary old man. One night in a pub that could generously be described as dingy, Christy clenches his fist and bursts into song. I quote, "Christy sang. I cannot tell you how startling it was. If you believe in a soul as I do, my soul stirred." The song was not composed by Christy, but by the alchemy of performance, you felt that it was his. It seemed to me the quality that makes any book, music, painting worthwhile, worth its life. Just that. Books, music, painting are not life, can never be as full, rich, complex, surprising, or beautiful, but the best of them can catch an echo of that, can turn you back to look out the window, go out the door, aware that you've been enriched, that you have been in the company of something alive that has caused you to realize once again how astonishing life is. This is very personal to me. You leave the book, the gallery, or concert hall with that illumination, which feels, I'm going to say, holy, by which I mean human raptness. End quote. It has been my great joy in life to have experienced both the giving and receiving side of that raptness. So today, I'm going to reflect on what that means when your spiritual calling is a life in the arts, and how I consider it both the gift and a responsibility. My reading is A Divine Dissatisfaction, which was written by Martha Graham for the members of her dance troupe, but I think it actually is relevant to anyone who spends their life in the arts. There is a vitality, a life force, an energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all of time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium and will be lost. The world will not have it. It is not your business to determine how good it is or how valuable, nor how it compares with other expressions. It is your business to keep it yours clearly and directly, and to keep the channel open. You do not even have to believe in yourself or your work. You have to keep yourself open and aware to the urges that motivate you. Keep the channel open. No artist is pleased. There is no satisfaction at any point in time. There is only a divine dissatisfaction, a blessed unrest that keeps us marching and makes us more alive than others.
I've been waiting all of my life to stand in this light, to be here tonight, shining this bright. I've been waiting all of my life to turn a new page out of my cage. Now I'm coming of age on a stage. I know my life is something real. On a stage, there are no words for what I feel, for I can heal the emptiness of a stage. I've been standing all of my life outside the parade, lonely charade, lost in the shade. All of my life this city's tried to get me to crawl, make me feel small, but I'm 40 feet tall. When I'm on a stage, I know my life is something real. On a stage, there are no words for what I feel, for I reveal the man I really am on a stage. On a stage. On a stage.
I wrote this service and this sermon 5 years ago, to be done at the end of March 2020. Things happened. Finally, now this morning, I get to tell you that I would like to share with you why I believe a life in the arts is a spiritual act, both for creators and the audience. I was thrilled to be named an Outstanding Alumnus of the Year at Austin Peay State University in Clarksville, Tennessee. It was an honor. And as I sat with my family and friends for the ceremony, I was aware that the rest of the room was, as they say, not my crowd. I knew most of the folks in that room didn't vote or worship as I did not believe what I did. But early in the evening, a group of dancers, diverse in age and race, performed for us, and I watched their beautiful production. And I also began noticing the others who were watching. They were smiling, some a bit teary-eyed. When the dance ended, everyone rose to their feet and applauded as if they were one organism. When it was my turn to speak, and I got to the podium, I never took my prepared speech out of my pocket. Instead, I started by telling everyone there what I had witnessed in that room. That as we all watched those dancers, we never thought about whom else was in the room or anything about what was going on in our lives. We were transported. And part of what I told them after that intro is what I'm sharing with you today. During World War II, people turned to the arts, especially movies, music, and theater, as a form of escape and solace. Hollywood played a huge role with films providing both entertainment and boosting morale. Movies like Casablanca in 1942 resonated deeply, offering hope and resilience during difficult times. Live theater, radio programs, and big band music were also immensely popular. United Service Organizations, USO, brought performances to troops and artists like Bob Hope's, Bing Crosby, and the Andrews Sisters. They entertained them both at home and abroad. Visual arts and literature also reflected the era, offering escapism. But it's much older than that. Older than Shakespeare writing plays for the downtrodden subjects of the crown. It goes all the way back to the Greeks, where entertainment was the way to lift spirits of all classes. Art is escapism in its purest and best form, and I'm afraid too often we take it for granted. That's the miracle of the arts. When someone is part of an audience in a theater or a concert or at a multiplex or at an hour of storytelling or a poetry reading or a stand-up routine, they are lifted up. The same goes for wandering through a museum, a sculpture garden, or even the solitary act of reading a book or watching your favorite television show. For that time, people are totally engaged in art. They're not thinking about their mortgage or problems they have with their neighbor, an argument they had with their siblings or spouse, or how they're going to pay their taxes, how their kids are doing in school, or any of the other legion of concerns that plague us human folk when our mind is at rest. They are free from all of that for a precious moment of time. If that's not a spiritual moment, I don't know what is. And it is the same for those of us whose spiritual calling, whose lives are creating art. When an actor or a dancer or a musician or an artist or an orator or a writer or musician is creating, we're not just thinking about what's bothering us. We escape into the art. And that way you get to escape with us. We're partners in art. When someone asks an artist, what do you do for a living? It's not always easy for them to answer. And it certainly has never been for me. The truth is, I bring people to life. There is a description of a person that's on a page, and it's my job to actually breathe the life into that person, to make that person flesh and blood. I become that character, and that character comes to life, even if only for 2 hours each evening in a darkened theater, or for a short time in a film or on a flickering TV screen. And here's the sacred part. If someone sees a play that I'm in, or a movie I've done, or watches a television show I've appeared in, for that brief moment of time, they enter a world where they can leave all of their troubles behind. They are transported. It's magical. It's a sacred time. As part of an audience, you might on occasion become a better person for the experience. You're standing in front of a beautiful work of art in a museum, you're transfixed. You're basking in its beauty, oblivious to those around you. You go to the ballet or watch a play. In these places, in these sanctuaries, you are surrounded by people. But when we sit in a movie theater, we don't instantly start to wonder how many Republicans are in there, or Democrats, or who else is in the audience. We're not concerned about the color of anyone's skin or the people around them, or those people, how they love, their religion, their country of origin. The museum, music hall, or theater become a miraculous place where people of all walks of life and different experiences and social status with some very different political viewpoints come together and react and experience and are uplifted and share the enchantment of art. It has united them in a way they don't even realize. Even when you're home in front of your TV set, or reading a book, or listening to your new playlist, though you're all by yourself, you are still transported. Yes, it's a singular experience, but it elevates your mood. It brings you joy, peace, perhaps excitement. and maybe even makes you think a little bit. You may probably talk about what you saw, read, or heard with someone else later, and they may not agree with you on it, but it's a discourse, and you are connecting with them. My friends and I don't always share the same ideas of what art is, but we can find common ground to discuss it. I have struck up wonderful conversations with strangers staring at the same statue in a museum. Never asked them how they voted, and I asked them what they thought of the piece, because nothing else mattered but that shared experience. And as an artist, the way you reach an audience, the effect that you have on them as individuals is something that you may never be aware of. Most artists still never get to know if they have affected someone, but every now and then they do find out, as I have been lucky to do. I was asked to be a soloist at our UU church in Studio City. I got a call asking me to sing something that coming Sunday, anything that I wanted for offertory. And Diane and I looked through music and just happened to pick maybe Leaving's Not the Only Way to Go from Big River. We knew it well. We'd played it before. There was no real intention, just something we knew we could do. So that's what we did. After that service at the weekly coffee communion outside, a couple approached me. They told me that the night before, they made a decision to split up. But they came to church anyway. And after hearing that song, they thought it was a sign. So they were going to keep trying. A couple of years later, when Diane and I left California to move here, they were still together, very happy with a beautiful baby. I performed at the Tennessee Shakespeare Festival every summer, as long as it ran. And after each production, in the South, after a play that you do, there's what they call a joyed it line, which is where you stand there and people walk by you and go, joyed it, joyed it, joyed it. We didn't do that, but we would go out, all of us who were in the production, and sit on the edge of stage. If somebody wanted to come up and talk to us, they were welcome to do so. Usually you get asked something like, how do you remember all those words? Or someone might remember you from something they'd seen you in previously, or they just wanted to thank you for being there. But one evening, after a Midsummer Night's Dream, a lady timidly approached me and said, "Can I ask you a question?" I said, "Sure." She told me that she had never seen a play before, never read Shakespeare, never experienced anything about Shakespeare at all. She didn't think she could. She said that what surprised her was that she understood everything. And she begged me to tell her how much of the script we had changed. I told her. We didn't change the play at all. We changed the setting from Athens, Greece to Athens, Rome. And we did it with a slight Southern accent, which might have made it more comfortable for her ears, but that every word she heard and understood was written by Shakespeare. Her eyes welled with tears. And I always get emotional here because she said, "So I really understand Shakespeare?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am, you did." She began to openly cry, saying that none of her friends were going to believe her. She said she had always thought she was not smart enough to understand Shakespeare. That evening, that woman's life was transformed. She came back almost every night that season, bringing some of her friends with them to teach them that they too could understand Shakespeare. She came back every season after that and always found time to thank the actors and me. I could go on with these stories, but I'm not, because time, and I'm just going to cry eventually. My talent is becoming someone else. Occasionally, it's a known person like Ben Franklin or L.B. Sasser, and I can research those people and get a better understanding of who I'm becoming. Sometimes it's a character that is iconic, like Toby Belch, Sancho Panza, even Charlie Brown. And I must find my best version of that character. But often, it's a character I am completely unfamiliar with, or occasionally one that had never even been created before, such as Cot, the silk merchant, and Paul, the newspaper salesman, who were completely unknown to the world until I brought them into being in the off-Broadway plays Lauren Sacchio and Smoke. I bring people to life. And those people that I become bring me to life as well. For a short time, I get to be someone other than myself, something that I think many people wish they could do on occasion. Well, luckily you can, by proxy through art. To borrow from Brahms, the aim and final end of all artistic endeavors should be the refreshment of the soul, not just our own, but others. I could no more stop acting than I could stop breathing. And I will let you in on a secret. An artist is not only creating when we are performing, painting, writing, singing, dancing, sculpting. An artist is working when they simply sit and look out the window, because the artist mind is always seeking input, always looking to create, always thinking of ways to improve what they do and looking for inspiration, because art is the result of inspiration. And inspiration has a spiritual nature. So I say again, art is a spiritual activity. Indeed, for myself and so many others, it is a sacred and spiritual calling. Casting director Lynn Stallmaster once told me that every film is made up of moments. And the more great moments there are in a film, the greater that film. But our lives are a series of moments too. And we now, more than ever, need to fill more of those moments of our lives with art. Make memorable moments, moments we can remember when the world seems so harsh. I want to leave you with the words from UU Kenneth L. Patton. Ours be the poems of all tongues, all things of loveliness and worth, all arts and ages and songs, one life, one beauty on the earth. So ends this morning's homily. Go in peace, and please lose yourselves in art. Amen. Blessed be. You might have noticed Sancho up there a couple of times. It's one of my favorite plays I've ever done. I've done it 6 times. So I'm going to leave you with some words from what I consider to be one of the greatest novels ever written, from the pen of Miguel de Cervantes, spoken by Alonso Quijano, better known as Don Quixote. All the squalls to which we have been subjected are signs that the weather will soon improve and things will go well for us. Because it is not possible for the bad or the good to endure forever. And from this it follows that since the bad has lasted so long, the good is close at hand. I think this is a very positive attitude for us these days. Friends and family, may your quest be victorious with hope as your shield, justice as your armor, and art as your spiritual calling. Let it be so.